Well, hey team, we're going to do some Eberron artwork tonight. So this is for what we're looking at here on the screen is Crystals of Mabar, an Eberron adventure, which is a world inside of the 5th edition role-playing game. Let me check my signal and then I'll go through my intro spiel and then we'll get to work. So hold on real fast while I check my signal here. Mic check, mic check. 1, 2, 3. Mic check. 1, 2, 3. Mic check. 1. Yeah, sounds good enough. All right, good. Flip up. My hair is freshly shampooed, so it's all wafty right now. Let's see if I can get this stuff out of my face. Hold on. Okay, so I'm going to do my intro spiel here real quick, and then we'll start doing some painting. So, my name is Phil Kearney. Hey, I create role-playing game supplements. I illustrate them, and then I publish them online. I've been focusing my attention on Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition for the past, like 4 or 5 years. Ever since Ravnica came out as a setting that you could play in D&D, I've pretty much started creating content for 5th edition at that point. There's a slew of links in the description down below that shows you some of the work that I've done. A heavy emphasis on Magic the Gathering and Ravnica crossover content, but there's actually a lot of stuff that's also system neutral and just general mechanics design that can be used both on the players and the DM side of the screen. So it really helps either build narrative for your and like campaign fodder for the DM, and it provides sources of inspiration and adjustable mechanics at different tiers of play that players can implement as kind of snap-on systems. 5th edition is an amazingly flexible system that, with just the core base of what 5e in general is, you can, as I say, snap on different type of sub-mechanics and ideas or alternate mechanics. So it's a really flexible system. It's been an absolute joy to build in that system, especially because I'm such a Magic the Gathering enthusiast on top of that. So hail to that. So I publish a thing like down below. I then illustrate it like this book cover we created. Where are we at? We're like around episode. Here, let me check. We're episode 159. So like back around episode 43-ish, we did work on this book cover here, and when you get your hands on the adventure, you'll see different elements inside this cover that this cover is symbolizing and visualizing a lot of different moments and things that happen throughout the adventure. So it's a fun little Easter egg piece for anybody that actually gets into the adventure and decides to pick it up. But once it goes on the DMsGuild, it'll have an extensive preview. You can look through all the maps, the different mechanics that we have for interacting and patrols, and it's very procedural based while still having a loose narrative that you're used to in 5e content. But it has a lot of procedural things, like if you alert somebody, like if somebody becomes aware of you, then it'll have little timers, like it'll take this many minutes or this many rounds for them to go fetch somebody, and now your problem is amplified. So you have to resolve whatever scenario is with the combat or some sort of like conflict has to be resolved within a time frame, otherwise it starts to escalate. Like if you open up a door, there's a chance people will hear that door depending on how far away they are from you, which is measured in doors. So the more doors that are between you and the door that you're opening, the less likely it is that thing would hear what's going on. But if you're opening a door to something that's in the next room, they're going to look and see that the door just got open. They're going to wonder what the hell's going on about that. And now you got like D4 minutes or like 3d6 rounds to resolve before the whole facility becomes aware of you, that sort of thing. So a lot of little timing things we get to play inside of there. You'll be able to see how those mechanics work. And weird, there's people banging on the wall. So you probably don't hear it. No one ever hears anything on streams. Everyone's always like, if that's distracting to you, it's never distracting to us. We never hear it. You don't hear that banging on the wall. You don't hear my dishwasher. Everything's fine in your world. I'm just yammering. So we built this adventure, right? It's for 8th level characters playing 5th edition. It could be ran as a one-shot, or it can be ran, or you can integrate it for like 8 or 9 sessions into a larger campaign. I mean, there's seriously 30 hours worth of content for you to mess around with inside of this book. It's going to probably be about 140 pages. It's a monster. So check it out before you buy it. Make sure you know that it's worth the investment. But if you've checked the past 200 episodes, you're going to see that there is a crap ton of map and token assets that we've been producing for this thing. We're going to fold it all together. Once I'm done with the Spelljammer book in the mornings, this will become my morning project. And then you're going to start seeing me crack through stuff more quickly like you can if you check out my stuff in the morning. If you want to support and help the channel grow, you can follow me on Twitter at Phil Kearney to get notifications of when I go live like now. Hey guys. Otherwise, best way to save the world is to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon and give everyone hope that long-form design is still alive and that the robots won't take over art production. So we're creating artwork. We create an adventure. We create all the assets for it. We illustrate the adventure. We publish it online. I'm going through that process right now in the mornings with the Spelljammer compendium that I built. The back 20 pages of that is redesigning Light of Xeraxis to showcase how our Spelljammer mechanics can change how fun Light of Xeraxis is. Hopefully for everyone in the better. Well, hey Nitro, it's good to see you, my guy. You could also try to run it as a one-shot, suffer scheduling conflicts. It's happy you're not like I'm. Holy, you and your one-shot is like it's you've got that one shot and you're gonna make damn sure you're gonna hit when you guys finally fire. Hopefully you guys have a Discord or something going on that you can like talk smack at each other about stuff and keep the camaraderie growing as you fight your way to some sort of table time presence. It's good to see you guys. Thanks for being here. So yeah, I'm still going through my intro spiel because I'm rambling a lot today. So like if you, I'm here 6 days a week in the mornings. Like I said, I'm doing the Spelljammer stuff, but as soon as that's done, this will graduate to my primary project. And then oh boy, you know what? I always say I'm going to try to slow down and get more serious about putting stock art together for packaging, and to spend more time editing the conversations that we end up having here online, and to make more of my Patreon. And by golly, there's like 7 more projects I already want to just dive into. I really need to do a Kickstarter that lands me a couple $100,000 so I can afford to hire some folks who grok what I'm talking about to help me write up some stuff. So, but if that's what the gods wish of me, then that is how it shall be. It'll just naturally fold into position. Speaking of folding into positions, folks that do check out my Patreon, it's linked down below. I think I've posted 2 articles this past week. One about moving through a cityscape without having a map, and how to resolve timing and distance involved with finding a location. And it was inspired by a really cool architecture video. So check that stuff out if you want. It's my Patreon link down below. And also I've started deconstructing the Eldraine Monstrous Compendium 4 that just recently published on the DMsGuild on D&D Beyond. It's an Eldraine document, and Eldraine is a Magic the Gathering setting. So it's a very fairy, wild witchlight sort of space. And so they just released a new card set to the Magic the Gathering game system, which means they're cross-promoting, trying to get more D&D players interested in what Eldraine is. So you'll buy some cards, maybe play some D&D. It's legitimately a very cool card set. I don't play Magic the Gathering currently. I don't have time to, but I listen to Legend VD and Covert Go Blue, and I don't remember her name. It's Lizzle something. Something Lizzle. Anyway, she does a lot of black-red decks, and I've been hip to it. So I've been checking out those 3 streams lately, basically keeping my hand on the meta of what's hot, what's not, where we're going. So when they released those 25 monsters on D&D Beyond, I grabbed that up, and this weekend I started deconstructing how those creatures are built as CRs and looking for like how does the power toughness of a card potentially get expressed as CRs inside the D&D game? Like, is that something that they're actively attending to? And even though they may not be sharing the secret sauce with us directly, maybe we can decipher what it is. So I've started that project. It's a whole extra thing. So I'm trying to carve out time for that. I'm thinking I'm going to spend some extra time on Saturdays after I do my commission stream. Take a lunch break, come back and do an hour and a half of that on a Saturday. So I'll be doing that this Saturday as well as the book cover painting I got commissioned to do. So I do a lot of stuff. I'm here often. If you think all this crap's cool, like, subscribe, hit the bell icon. But yeah, we were talking about plot hooks inside of the Eberron adventure. You can do a one-shot. So there's six NPC groups here that guide your character into the adventure. And so you'd roll a d6 if you just want to randomly pick somebody as a one-shot. Like if you're doing a paid DM thing, you've just got a group of one-shotters together just to see what D&D is all about. You could like roll 1, 2, 3, or 4 and have just these plot hooks, or if you wanted to have like the lower the number you roll, the shorter the adventure is. So you can do one shots with plot hook 1 and 2, maybe with 3 or 4 if you shorten where these two enter to be the same place as these guys can, which is easy to do. I mean, all these can be ran as a one shot, but as you move further and further away from the final boss battle, you kind of like zoom out away from that final encounter. That final encounter can be basically ran as a one shot. And as you pan, but you just kind of, what's the word I'm looking for? It's, you just use DM exposition during the intro to explain why your characters are in this dungeon and what your objective is while you're inside of it. Stop asking me questions. You're in the dungeon. This is the adventure. And then you each have, that's why a randomizer is fun, because if you're just going to dump them into a dungeon, you have to give them a goal for why they're in the dungeon. So what are they looking for? What additional resources does that plot hook provide to your characters that are pursuing that goal? And who was it that provided that goal to you? And what is their motivation that you need to be thinking about while you're using the resources they gave you to achieve the goal that they assigned you? And if you're doing just a one-shot random group, each person can roll a d6 and have a different reason. And a lot of these goals are in conflict with each other, which makes it super fun. So we've been illustrating the different characters, NPCs that are introducing different plot hooks to you as why are you involved. So that's what we're currently doing right now. Where this is this plot hook, these characters is a family in a town that has sprouted up after the end of the last war. They're refugees or expats. Maybe expats. Like their sire disappeared, so there are Sirens amongst the refugees that have created this community that basically is a farming community to start their lives over. It's basically what we're looking at. So hold on, let's see if I like this garment cover. Actually, I think I do like that. I think I like that a lot. Cool. I was looking for something to garb this gal. So that's the rabbit. This is center. No, this is fabric. Center. Mother. And this will be fabric. Oof, that's very dark. So yeah, this plot hook here, these the NPCs don't really matter, but the story is that some relatives of yours have joined this new unincorporated village at the edge of the Karnwood in the nation of Karnath. And presumably they are Karnathi citizens, but they could be, expat, displaced refugees from the disappearance of Sire, or they could be from they could be some of the population from Moorhold, for instance, if you wanted to have a dwarven element in here, or they could be building. Second, I have a tangent. There. And there. Okay, cool. I'm back on track. So they settled in this small, basically unincorporated, unregistered, undocumented or mapped village. They basically scrapped things together from battlefields. They've turned swords into plowshares, and are currently. Something is awry. Hold on, real quick here with you. Okay, there we go. Something was throwing off my game there. But yeah, so they got farm here, and they're like, hey, we have a place for you if you want to settle down and stop being an adventurer, or like if you need a place to hide, or hey, we've been having trouble and we need help. Come help us out. Maybe you get like a sending message, because it is Eberron, and Eberron is just absolutely steeped in magic. So like sending stone cell phones is like a thing. So it's not a common thing. It's a rich person thing. But basically imagine if all the technology that's in our science fiction movies and comic books and stories was real, and that we as humanity had access to it now. You just had to belong to either the right organization or be rich enough to have access to these things, like eternal life, or like being able to perceive what might happen in the future, or knowing for a fact that there are alien species and being able to communicate with them. Imagine all those things are actually possible in common day America or Europe or Africa, wherever in the world. It's possible for various powers across the globe to be able to accomplish all these things. You just have to be wealthy enough and know the right people. Now, convert that to magic and put it in Eberron. That's what Eberron is. Eberron has a lot of low power, broad-based, common magic that makes life super easy. Chances are, if you have like a guild-paying job in a urban environment like Sharn, Rot, Korenberg, these different high population centers, chances are like you having a sink that's enchanted to clean anything that's in it by animating, whisks and stuff like that to move through water and get soaked up and stuff like it. Anything inside of it animates to clean those dishes and stacks them for you. Like that's a decent middle class magic to have in your home. Like that sort of technology is like, oh, like the 1920s. You've got one of those new dishwashers. You've got a refrigerator. That's some cool stuff. Like technology is starting to take off in the Western world in the 20s, and it's just what we've been told about that kind of sets the limit and pace that technology's been coming out ever since. Like if there really is the ability for us to cross communicate with other dimensions, or if Roswell was actually an introduction to an interplanetary system of confederated governments that have knowingly been providing limited information in exchange for, like, say, slowly waking up our population to the reality of what they're a part of. Like, the power get ridiculous trillions of dollars worth of resources to play whatever they want to play with. But in exchange, the consciousness of society will awaken and become aware that they are not alone. Like, that's a trade I could see them doing. That's the kind of shit you've got going on in Eberron. Like, they're like Thrain, the nation of Thrain is actively controlled by a hierarchy of angels in heaven. Like, this is common knowledge that that's what they do. It's just the question is it real, or is it just like the Messiah prophets that are born occasionally that have access to this divine energy, and how quickly are they actually killed by the bureaucracy that kind of runs the show in the meantime? So there's a lot of people questioning the legitimacy of different power that is in existence in Eberron, and that kind of Cthulhu conspiracy sort of setup as a backdrop to an Eberron campaign really opens the door to we can have any kind of super magitech science that we want in our societies. It's just a matter of how integrated is it into each society that we're interacting with. So that opens up a lot of fun options. So like we have a lot of things, like we have options in here. Like if you want to pick a lock to a security door, you'll lower the DC if you're willing to spend a spell slot while you've got your finger touched to magic circuitry. Like you can burn a 3rd level spell slot as a 8th level character. If you have like an artificer on your team and they burn a 2nd level, a 1st level spell slot, or a 2nd level spell slot, like needing an extra like D10 on their die roll to opening, like to picking the lock. So like you can do cool shit like that, and I lean into that idea as a campaign. But I can tell I'm neglecting my chat. So hey, what's up? I hope that you do. I'll be working on the forest next. So if I can get this thing finished this week, I'll be working on forest maps this time next week. So good luck, right? Tell you what, I'll race you, man. I will race you. I think it would be hilarious if the Karnathi government went after these guys, not because of their nationality or past, but just to collect taxes. Hey, Dreams, it's good to see you, my guy. Yeah, absolutely, Nitro. Like, at some point, these guys are going to become a big enough resource drain that the sheriff is going to have to actually start reporting on them. By hiring you guys, he can keep them off the books. So he actually really fucking gets it. And he is super chill about it. Or he could be a complete dickhead. It's just he has so many fires to put out that he wants somebody he can rely on to narc out, ne'er-do-wells and get and hopefully get some more resources to have some, lynch mobs available to attack Sirens that are trying to hide inside of the nation of Karnathi, because obviously they're corrupted by demons and need to die. So the Sirens, they've got a rough reputation. That might not be Siren's reputation in your world, but that is 100% their reputation in mine. The great thing about Keith Baker is he's like, I have a lot of fun ideas about what the campaign could be, and a lot of them might be contradictory because the Eberron, there's no set way Eberron is supposed to be ran. Eberron is a really robust template, backdrop, almost like a flavor that you can pour onto any kind of adventure that you want, because it's such a broad diversity of society, environments, and technological levels and histories that you can really throw anything you want into it, as long as you're interested in things starting off like a low simmer and then escalating into something that could absolutely shake the world. Eberron is awesome at that because there's no high-powered characters in the game, in the lore. There's no one like above 7th level in the lore of the game. They're all super low. Like all the huge epic level characters got killed in the war. They're already gone. Like Sire, like when Sire disappeared, like 90% of the population that was 12th level or above just vanished, gone. No one knows where they went. Everyone left over is like the C team of the Avengers. Like Hawkeye's kid or something is like the best we've got now. So it's like a super open palette of like if we just knew how to make shit work, this place could be amazing again. But currently we're kind of in a fallout because basically our power got nuked. So from magic perspective, we're kind of, our electrical grid system went down and we have no mana flowing through our nation right now. It's like France 1946. Good luck. Get it together. So there's a shitload of stuff that's not on the books at all. And honestly, a lot of the military and ruling class populations are really thankful that the massive populations of most of these nations didn't get dotted like Sire did. Like Sire got blanked. So, but it was also in my telling of it, It was also the power system, like all the nuclear power plants of magic were in Sire, and they were in the process of outsourcing that stuff to have a vision of empowering the entire nation. And that's what started the last war, because Sire was about to take control of the political and social environment of the entire nation by providing free magical energy. Of course that's going to start a war. And of course they happen to just completely disappear with all of that technology after, Breland and Thrain and Owndair looted the information out of their academies. So we'll see the power come online. But yeah, so in my campaign, all these guys, these Sirens, they were warlocks, and they made pacts with a demon of technology that was rolling out severe magic that took a toll on you after a while. Like, you don't know the cell phone is causing you a tumor in your brain, but the real fun part is that tumor creates an organic gateway to hell, so that demons take you over if you play, Farmville for too long. So that's kind of the whole military and theocracy of Thrain got corrupted, not Thrain, of Karnath got corrupted by this demon. And what was his name? Dalrog was the name that we gave him. So Dalrog, the demon of the machine, he was the one that inspired the Warlock artificers to create the engine of creation that was capable of bestowing sentience and true life unto constructs. But what they weren't being told is that Dargon was taking the souls of the dead that he was harvesting from the last war, and then recycling them back into the Warforged bodies. So one of the campaigns that I ran, one of the characters was a Warforged, and he didn't want to follow any of the gods. He was thinking about going into Druid, so he wanted to have his god be the Allspark, and he defined it as a god of knowledge. If you're a Transformers fan, you'll recognize that the Allspark is like the matrix of leadership that the leader of the Autobots carries in his chest, like it's the heart of his organization and the heart of their philosophy. So he had that. He had a spark inside of him, and his goal was to awaken all of the Warforged that didn't know who they were, for them to know the truth of who they were. And as a god portrayed as a god of knowledge, that made, God, what fucking awesome flavor. These are min-maxers that decided to stop min-maxing because they realized that shenanigans is the true powerful pillar of adventure. And so they just do whatever random shit they thought would be fun for their character just to flesh out a shtick. Like if they really wanted to get into making muffins, they'd all take the chef feat and start picking up skill sets for cooking proficiency, and then figure out how can they make their class be a better baker. Like they dive into that kind of crap. So that's the kind of shenanigans that they would optimize around. So he's like, yeah, Allspark, god of knowledge. I want to awaken everyone's memory about who the Warforged used to be, so that they can have an educated decision about what kind of life do they want to lead now that the war is over and they're fighting for basically human rights. So it's like, well, if you guys know who you used to be, we'll be able to settle this once and for all, whether you deserve rights or not. And everyone got fucking pissed off about that. What happens if they're just dogs? And then when you awaken them, they degenerate into animal sentience and they lose everything. People were angry about that. Potentially more angry was, well, what if these are recycled souls from people that weren't able to find their way to the good place? And so that made all the politicians and the rich people really fucking pissed off, thinking about, well, this is what it really was. Yes, we recycled your souls. The Dargon, the demon of the machine, was pulling souls out of Sire and recycling them back through. So when the Warforged awoke, and basically the entire nation of Sire suddenly reemerged as Warforged in your household. So everyone's like, oh, that's a game changer. So now the Siren Nation is trying to basically form their own sub-nation inside of all the other nations. There you go. So it's fun. So in my campaign in this setting, Sirens here that survive the bomb destroying their nation, they don't have a great reputation because people know that they were making pacts with demons to get basically infernal technology and demon and soul binding technology to power all their machinery. And the Carnathi aren't super cool with that. They're like, that's like a very creative way for you to not let humans evolve. So, but there's a debate going on in Carnathi about is that ethical? How is that compared to undead? It's like the body's just a piece of machinery when it's left over. You just took machinery and gave it a human soul. Fuck you. So I'm neglecting my channel. Hey, what's up? Exactly Shenanigans. Yes, the absolute real power. Highest level character has a con score of 5. Yes. One of my characters got cancer in a Dark Sun campaign, and the constitution kept dropping. I was a DM of this game, so the player every time he got exhausted, he'd lose a point of constitution permanently. And it was Dark Sun, so you're getting exhausted all the time. So he decided to play that character until he died, and he died fighting beholders. It was glorious. In my Dark Sun campaign, we had whisper gnomes. They were the only gnomes tough enough and dangerous enough to survive the racial cleansing that happened in the core history of the setting. So whisper gnomes were running around the cities of Athos pretending to be children and integrating themselves in, and they were the gnomish mafia, basically, that rescued people and, alcohol and psionic crystals and whatever it is that Dark Sun people do. The whisper gnomes were there. So he was a whisper gnome. He was part of the gnomish mafia, and at one point there was too much heat on him, so he decided he and the rest of the gang were going to hire out as caravan guards to a NPC that was doing a survey of all the islands in the Silt Sea. So there's this like little mountain outcroppings that stuck out of the Silt Sea, and there was boats that would sail on the Silt Sea, and the Silt Sea would be anywhere from 2 feet deep to 200 feet deep. And the Silt Sea was famously populated by Ephesian giants, which are 30 feet tall. So they would just wade through 20-foot deep silt and just attack your boat if you came too close to their territories. So in that same vein, there were colossal hermit crabs that would scuttle around underneath the surface of the silt, and the shells that they would take into to build their home inside of, we would shell out, pardon the pun, but we'd build fortresses out of those massive, like 50-foot hermit crabs, and you'd be able to wade into the deeper Silt Sea because you'd have a 200-foot tower on top of a 50-foot hermit crab, and you could poke out 250 feet above the silt. So if the silt's 200 feet deep, you had a comfortable 50 feet worth of siege space that was coasting along the Silt Sea, trusting that the crab would keep you from running into anything. So when you run across creatures in the Silt Sea, you'd basically have siege battles with them as they circulated around you, and you had to then go down underneath the silt to help protect your hermit crab through the force screen to keep the silt from dumping into the defense points. But you had to basically sift it, like go out into the silt to defend your crab from being eaten by like mega worms or whatever. So anyway, yeah, but he went to this one island, got infected, ended up getting cancer from this hag that took his life in exchange for knowledge about whatever the mission was. I'll bore you another day about that. But basically, she gave him cancer, and every time he lost a point of constitution, she would she was pregnant, so his constitution score helped grow the baby inside of her, and when he lost all his constitution, the child would be born, and it would fulfill this prophecy that this coven of hags had forever. And so yeah, there you go. He was losing constitution, the hag was eating it. They attempted to kill the hag to end the curse, but that didn't work. It just made the it just made the womb become an insect that crawled out of her body and ran away. So somewhere there's a nightmare brood that has some sort of psychic connection to our rogue. And every time the rogue loses a point of constitution, we knew somewhere a bladder of blood was expanding in power that would, I don't know what it would do. They never got around to finding it because they all got killed by beholders. But he was down to a 3 constitution when the team took on those beholders. They found out that there was the lost tribe of whisper gnomes that everyone had thought, the gnomish mafia had thought they had died hundreds of years ago as a result of Athos. But it turned out, no, they were just actually enslaved by these beholders that had held out for the last couple thousand years to avoid all the crazy chaos above on the surface world. Great way to be paranoid, beholders. You guys really hit a home run with that philosophy there. But now they were starting to outreach into what was remaining of Dark Sun Underdark, which was a lot less touched than people would hope. Like, there's still Drow down there. They just dug deep. There's still Durger and Devo and all that stuff. They're all still down there. They just went miles and miles further underground to escape whatever the hell was going on upstream. They're like, we don't want anything to do with this stuff. We're out. So they got out. But that stuff is still out there. And the team found it. And then they found that Whisper Gnomes were enslaved by them. And they had a horrible, just absolute fail plan to save their brethren from the beholders. And boy, they just 2 natural ones right off the gate. They're fucked. They just had no chance. They had no surprise. They're completely fumbling their coordination. It was just destiny that they were going to get slaughtered by that. And sure enough, they did. So that, then we switched over. We switched over to Eberron in the Cypher system. So thus let Bob become your uncle, and it did. So good times. Good. Why is that? Yeah, I'm just gonna merge all this shit down. It's all nightmare fuel right now. I'm going to. Yeah, that's panning out. I'm carrying on. I'm just kind of rambling. Not really talking about the adventures so much right now. Just talking shop. I think I'm neglecting my channel again. What's up? The guy constantly on death's door. Nice. Was pushing himself to be the perfect hero. Oh my god, I've got a thing to say about that. Yeah, of course. What? It's your birthday this Thursday? Holy shit! I stream on Thursday. I'll make sure. Remind me to give you a shout out. Happy birthday, man! But in case you aren't around, because why would you be hanging out here on your birthday? I'm talking about narcissist. Get out of here, dude. I hope you have a fucking great birthday, man. I love birthdays. I always celebrate the prime years the most. Like say, 53 is the next prime year that I'm going to experience. Like, that's a prime number. Like, when you're a kid, birthdays are a big deal because there's shitloads of prime numbers. But as you age, it becomes less and less of a big deal because there's less prime numbers. When's your next prime? No shit. Well, keep me posted, man. Because I only stream for 2 hours, so I'm happy to hang out with you too. Fucking slam a jamma, man. 36. You're only 1 year away from a prime. Fantastic, my dude. That is awesome. Excellent. I'm glad. Hold on. I want to make sure. I've got this new heart feature thing going on down here, and it gets in the way of text. Tab. Where am I at? What are we doing? Oh yeah. Hold on. Yeah. The conceited want to be a hero. Okay. Here's my thought. Here's my thought about. Oh fuck. Harry Potter. The wizard who taught defense of the wizard defenses. He wrote Magical Me. The narcissistic crazy guy that used memory wiping to steal other people's glory, and he'd tell the tale. You know, he embellished the tale because there was no one else there to counter him about it. And then I don't know how the books went, but in the movies, he got hit by his own amnesia spell, so he forgot everything about him. Here's my. Hold on here. Let me make sure. I want to make sure I've got a color here I can use before I dive into this because I fucking love this. So give me a hot second. Oh yeah. That's perfect. Arpun. Nice dirty apron for you there, gal. Hold on. I want to make sure I've got this color down. Okay, so whatever that dude's name is, but you know what I'm talking about, right? He used Magical Me, and like he kept stealing people's memories, making them forget things so that no one realized he's a fraud. So he's a fraud, right? He's not a hero at all. He's an utter coward. And all the fame that he's ever had, he's stolen from other people. But he doesn't know who he is anymore. He gained an amnesia. So the only reference he has about who he is the books that he wrote about himself. So what's going to end up happening, and I don't know if this was ever explored, because I didn't read the books, and I know there's a lot of stuff in there, but this dude is going to be inspired by his own bullshit. And he's going to actually try to live up to that. He's like, oh yeah, the reason why I can't do this crazy fireball magic stuff is because I have amnesia and I can't remember it. I have to relearn magic. But what he believes he's capable of doing is all the things that he's been lying about his entire life. No one is there to tell him he's a liar except for Harry Potter. And if Harry Potter just lets it go, that guy is going to be, I want to know who he becomes. I want to know that man. I want to know that man. He is going to be a monster. I mean, like a force of good. Because all the books about him say this is who he used to be. So he's going to have to find himself living up to that. Like, this is the only thing that makes sense. Obviously, I'm supposed to be this good person. I love that. I love that so much. So, I don't know if there's anything about that or what happened to him or whatever, but I think that is my favorite thing about Harry Potter, bar nothing. Absolute favorite part about all the movies. I only know the movies, but my absolute favorite part is him and who he could become. And that is just, I think that's just humanity in a nutshell to me. It's like, if we can forget who we are, if we can forget ourselves and put down our bullshit, we can be a hero for somebody right now. So, anyway, that's my deal. Text. Pretty mentioned that my sickly narcissistic hero also has a strange form of amnesia. His narcissism is independent of that, though. Fair enough. Anyway, I have to talk about that. Anytime anyone that gets me on a path about narcissists or about Harry Potter, I have to go down that path because I think that is just the most beautiful and kind redemption story that could ever befall somebody. And what an opportunity just to make a difference in people's lives. I fucking love that. Always inspires me. I am absolutely not doing this correctly. Like, I'm just doing everything in the same layer except for the line art. Like, anyway. It is what it is. This is what Muse wants me to do. Apparently, she wants me to expand how I do art. Maybe she's showing me that way that I do things could be quicker. I don't know. I try not to read into it too much. Honestly. It's gonna be what it's gonna be. She'll tell me about it. I'm hoping, hope beyond hopes. I am hoping that two things are true. One, that the many worlds form of the multiverse is in fact true. That there is an infinite number of variables of who we are, living out every possible reality, every possible solution, as every possible person, as a multiversal truth that we all, in some very deep level, are all truly one. That is one thing that I hope is true. The second thing that I hope is true, that this is all a giant game of Roy. That heaven has created the perfect video game where all those that have already died have an opportunity to drop in a coin and see how awesome of a life it is they can make for everybody that's ever existed in every possible scenario. And you have an infinite stack of coins. You can play for as long as you want, and all everyone is playing for is style. They're all just playing for style because they're all dead, they're all in heaven, and they've all forgotten about emotions and how it feels to struggle. And so they inject themselves into this machinery and live out the life of a human being here now, or in the past, or all possible pasts, or all possible futures. All possible nows is all possible me's. So I hope both of these things are true. Because I'm going to realize pretty quickly, once I awaken, if these things are true, that I don't really give a crap about Phil. Phil is probably just my favorite video game right now. But before that washes away, and I remember what, eternal spirit I really am, that was just trying to get an emotional fix from the machine. I hope that I can go in and take a look at what all the books I won't be able to get done in my lifetime, that were completed in some other versions of me lifetime as their top passion and priority, and just see all the crap that I made. In that same sense, I am also Jim Lee, so I'll also have the opportunity to experience what it was like to make Marvel comic books. Blah 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 blah. Infinite realities. I can explore any of those pieces as a cool down, or maybe as like a post-credit scene that I earn by hitting like a certain tier of epic life that Phil leads. And I don't know. I'm an artist. I'm not, rescuing children from terrorists or some shit like that. So, I mean, that's a different version. But apparently whoever Phil is has a certain set of parameters. It's like, here's the rules that you're going to operate under. Here's the limitations that you're going to have. Here's the people that are going to show up in your life. Here's your rivalries. Here's your faction points with different sort of organizations. All you have to do is shenanigans. Run the shenanigan pillar of play and see how awesome you can make it. And what's the craziest idea you can come up with, and try to execute it the best you can. And obviously in this version, I decided to be a colorblind painter and see what kind of a mess I can make online with people for that. Like, this is me currently living my best life. I know this is true because I had a new Fate line show up on my hand recently. It wasn't there 3 years ago, and I've been streaming. This is my second year of streaming. So apparently, whatever crazy shenanigan it is that I'm supposed to be doing with my life, doing this guides me into a new Fate that I didn't have 5 years ago. So I'm kind of excited about where I'm going right now. Because yes, I believe in palmistry, so shut up. So that's kind of cool. That's where I'm hoping life goes. I'm really, really hoping for that. But I think that's why I geek out so much about that Harry Potter storyline. Because like, that guy has the opportunity to run a full reset on his life with a bunch of back lore knowledge about who you are. Like, I didn't come into this world knowing who I am. This guy's got whole books about himself. And all Harry Potter has to do is just let him do it. Like, Harry would be the most badass motherfucker if he sees what he does and even encourages him to do it. Like, if Harry Potter wants to be a badass dude, do that, Mr. Potter. Be that guy. Be that guy. Anyway, rambling on, singing my song. Yeah, okay, that seems legit. Okay, good. I thought for some reason this was some sort of paint over issue here, but come on, buddy. Thank you. Let me get this guy back on task. I'm talking a lot of smack tonight. Don't mind me. But these are the things that me and my friends would talk about out on the stoop at 3 o'clock in the morning, you know? These are the people that I used to play D&D with. Like, these are the conversations my friends in D&D would, you know, these are our kind of conversations. And it would just funnel back into what can we do to A, have more shenanigans in our life, and B, be more heroic to more people. Like, we really took D&D seriously. Like, ridiculously seriously. Like, at one point we were using Werewolf the Apocalypse role-playing game as metaphors for all the things that we would do in our life. And we were looking at how much dice pool we need to be able to pull off the kind of bullshit that we wanted to pull off of, like, helping somebody move their home, like, move from one apartment to another, like, in 4 hours. Like, how much resources would we need to be able to pull in enough people to be able to accomplish that? Well, crap, we only got 15 people. Let's tear this place apart. You know? Fun stuff. Like it made me like when what was it? When Fight Club came out. I didn't read the book, of course not. I don't read a lot of books. I'm a big audiobooks fan, but I saw the movie. So, and ever since then, the Tyler Durden memes that would come out, and my favorite one ever was steal somebody's identity and improve their credit rating. Like, that is, if we were if we were criminals, that's the kind of bullshit that we would do, probably to justify all the crime that we did otherwise. Like, do some Robin Hood stuff so you can justify being horrible otherwise, but that's the kind of shenanigans that we respected. And I love that. That's such a great, that's like the best meme, like, fucking ever. I love that. Anyway. That's where I'm at right now in this conversation, so don't mind me, guys. Let's paint her face. Oops, that's the wrong layer. That's the flesh layer. Hold on, let me grab skin. Blip, nice. And then we go to mother, and we go blop. There we go. That totes works. Text, what's up? Hey Tyler, what's going on, my guy? Any other audiobooks? If you need a recommendation, I highly recommend The Postman. I've heard of The Postman. Wasn't that was that a Kevin Costner movie? I mean, I'm sure it was a book first, but if I'm not mistaken, Kevin Costner made it into a movie, right? And if I recall, it was decent. While I wait for a positive answer, I will point out that the Paramount TV show 1883 is fucking amazing. It is definitely worth a subscription, like, or buying it someplace else. But if you just want to subscribe, it is worth subscribing to Paramount Plus just for 1883. That is a fucking great show. It's a prelude to Heartland? Is that what it's called? The Kevin Costner show about being folks in Montana doing ranching. and all the shenanigans that go on with that. I think it's called, is that called Heartland? I can't remember the name of it for the life of me, but I think it's Heartland. Anyway, it's the prelude to that. It's how they ended up in Montana. Fucking great, man. It's like 8 episodes. It's a closed loop story, so it has a beginning and ending and a shitload of emotional content, and it is just some of the best TV I've seen in years, to be quite frank. It is epic. Love, love, love that. Will profess and scream in its favor forever as one of the best TV shows. That and The Good Place are like the best TV shows that I've experienced in decades. Since Firefly, I would say I would say that's the quality, completely different delivery, but same level of quality that I would expect. And I'm like, what the hell is going on? Hold on, I got lost. I got lost in my own rambling. There we go. Are we okay now? More darkness. That's what I need. More darkness. Hold on, I'll catch up with you guys in a second. What the French, Toast? There we go. All right, I was having some selectivity issues. Don't mind me. Just rage quitting over here and then rebooting my heart. Ah, the pain has subsided. The beatings may continue. What's up? Yellowstone. Thank you. That's it. Yes, Yellowstone. Fuck, that show's good. I enjoyed it. All the people are deplorable, but I like the daughter, Beth. She's excellent. Yeah. Yellowstone. 1883. Yeah, it's called 1883. It's about the first. They're the Buchanans. Is that their name? Anyway, whatever their name is, the Duns. Yeah. 1883 and 1923. Those are both preludes to Yellowstone. 1883 was the family how they moved from New York to Montana and became cattle herdsmen, and then 1923 is when there was an Irish immigration movement into Montana, and all the sheep were competing with the cattle for grazing the lands. The sheep would destroy all this, like the sheep would just destroy stuff, and the cattle wouldn't have anything left to eat. So the cattle herdsmen were being starved out. So the first season was realizing how much of the problem this was, and how much mob was actually involved in all of it. So it's basically the Duns versus the mob right now in 1923. It's pretty hardcore. So both of those shows are Paramount Plus TV shows, and they're both completely pertinent to. They're both preludes to the Yellowstone, but 1883 is legendary. If it was a movie, I would buy it, and it's 8 hours long, so it'd be like Lord of the Rings. But I would seriously spend $50 on it. I would have no problem with that if it was like a DVD set or something like that. Like a DVD set, get out of here, Kearney. But seriously though, yeah, if it was a DVD set, I would 100% in a heartbeat spend $50 on it. No questions asked. Super fucking good. Okay, I'm getting lost in my sauce again. Okay, back on point. Back on point. Thank you. We're now going to call this flesh and this fabric. Fabric? Flesh. There we go. Life equals good. Any other audiobooks? It was, and it's a fantastic film. It's amazing. Yes. Sounds like, and no, I've not seen One Piece yet. I am told it's very good. It's on my plate, but I only watch TV on Saturday night and Sunday. No, that's not true. I'll watch about 2 hours of TV on Tuesday and Wednesday and Friday. So I get about 10 hours worth of TV time a week, and that's with my gal, watching Netflix, of course, or whatever. I'm finding. Oh, it was because of. Right. If this smudge brush gets underneath, this is that new brush I built during my commission stream last month, and I'm finding it doesn't really work well if it's under 8 pixels in size. I have to switch. I think I have to switch to a different smudge brush because the size of the brush, it gets the math on it gets wonky somehow. It just doesn't interact properly. So, like, it doesn't pull the way I want it to. It just kind of doesn't do anything, and that kind of pisses me off. But otherwise, anything that's 10 pixels or above, this is by far my favorite smudge brush I've ever built. Oh, hey, if you, I have a link to my Patreon down below. If you haven't visited my Patreon before, I have 2 new articles up on it this week. One is, hold on, I actually want to show off this for a second. What's out? The more button. Yeah, Patreon, RPG and stuff. Traversing a city without a map, inspired by the Kowloon Walled City. And here's the YouTube link to it. So basically, this is talking about how this mega structure, an actual like Judge Dredd mega city, or like Ravnica. It's a mega city where all the buildings have organically grown together, like high rises in Tokyo, but denser. So what it talks about is that there's no physical map to this place. So navigating it is based on what you know and what your family has shown you and what other strangers convey to you. So it requires social checks and history checks to be able to navigate your way inside of this space. So I took that idea for Ravnica and I created this destination familiarity table based on how familiar you are with a location, what kind of a check you need to make, either a history, insight, or survival check, and depending on whether you're inside of a 1 mile block or a 10-mile megastructure, this is how long roughly it takes for you to get there. So what you do is you make a locate DC check, and then you roll, and then the players roll the time, and then the DM rolls that same time, and then depending on what result you get on this scale will determine if you use the better time or the worse time. The DM knows if he has a better time or a worse time than you do. All you know is what you roll and what DC result that you have, and a vague idea of how familiar you are with the area. So if I say, hey, let's go to the Bloody Demon Cafe, you either have never heard of that, like I don't know, like, can you describe it to me? It's like, yeah. It's down on Dread Street 5. And it's like, I only vaguely know about Dread Street 5. So, like, I'm going to have a locate DC check of 22 on that. And if I succeed the check, I'm going to get the better of 2 times. Either the one that I know or the one that the DM knows. But I don't actually know how long it's going to take for me to get there. I just think that it might take around this many hours, more or less. So it's a really fun way to fuck with your sense of time in a game. And of course, if it's a mega structure up to 10 hours, it could take you days to find what you're looking for, right? So, but if you find people that are more familiar with it than they are, they can provide you with a good enough description that maybe it's treated as like viewed once. Like you have a clear enough picture of the other geography around it that you get an idea it's in this area. If you scry it, you could get it as viewed once immediately. But if you spend time researching that area, it becomes seen casually, which would be the same as like, hey, we went to this French cafe like those 2 times, like that time we went to France, and then when we went there again like 10 years later, it took us forever to find it. I bet we can find it faster this time, and you would, because you're more familiar with it. Until it's like your neighborhood, which is like very familiar. It only takes a few minutes for you to get there. So, but this is an easy structure for you to be able to take infinite regions that you can use as a point crawl, that the DM can just spontaneously add how familiar are with this new idea, like this new location I just made up for you on the fly. Yeah. You've been there before. You went on a date to the Angel's Halo. You were there up in the upper city like 3 years ago with this Azorius chick that you were into. She took you there. You guys had some food. You bought dinner. It didn't work out. You're a Dimir spy. Why would it have? But hey, at least you got what you needed out of the conversation. You put that bug in her sleeve. So mission accomplished. Good job, guy. But yeah, I need to find that place again. It's a good Azorius scouting spot. Now I've been there once, but I had 2 dates with her. So seen casually, it'll take me a decent check. And like if I'm a Dimir, maybe I can spend a point of mana to get like a 10-point boost on finding that to make that DC really easy. Or I could shave off one of the die rolls that I roll. Like there's fun ways I can mess with that. But I have other ideas too. I just wanted to point that thing out real quick because I thought it was cool. You don't have to be a patron to read it. I just wanted to bring it to your attention. What I think is cool about it is... hold on real quick. My brain is telling me to do something different here. Nah, let's go with this guy's skin color instead. So I'm just going to do what the muse tells me to do. There. Okay, so the reason I bring this up is because it's actually because of Cypher System. I'm having a conversation about Cypher System right now. So Cypher System is a role-playing game where the experience points are handed out during the adventure. You can accumulate experience points so that at the end of after 4 or 5 adventures, you can buy a shiny new toy, like improve your ability score or something. But that's like long-term character, like core character skills growth, like long-term growth. But during the adventure, you're handed out experience points that you'll presumably spend to spontaneously do things to give your characters advantage. So if I were to introduce this idea into a Cypher System, we'd change the DC to basically scale, like it'd be a challenge, like challenges scale from 1 to 10. And then, so it would be like description only would be like a challenge 8, 6, 4, 2. And basically it's like basically twice whatever the challenge rating, 3 times the challenge rating is the difficulty of you being able to achieve that goal. So like it'd be a DC 24, like a challenge rating 8 would be like a DC 24. A challenge rating, a challenge of 2 would be a DC 6 in D&D. So what you can do is you can spend experience points in game to buy down so that you can just bullshit on the fly spontaneously. Yeah. My character used to go eat pho there with my aunt because her brother, my dad, walked out on us. So she wanted to make sure she had more of that side of the family tree always in my life. So every Sunday, she would take me to have pho at that place. So even though I just made it up and the DM assumed it would be a description that would take time for you to arrive at, if you're allowed to spend experience points to buy up familiarity, then you'll be able to get there quicker than DM thought. And you can borrow that. I'm very familiar with this location, so I can lower the DC of all things that we're doing while we're inside of this location. You can do that in D&D as well if you hand out inspiration points like candy, similar to how the Cypher System does. So if you did that, what you'd be able to do is use those inspiration points for you to be able to have ad hoc bonuses to skill checks that you're performing. And yeah, so anyway, that's the idea. Whether you use it on Cypher system, Pathfinder, or D&D, or any other basically D20 mechanic system that has a rising score that you have to roll. It works that way. So do that with what you want. It's on my Patreon. It's free for you guys to look at. Bob's your uncle. So there's the flash. Yeah, I like that. Now let's go in. I'm going to call this flesh, is her skin, and then hair. Oh, I did not expect this hair color. How fun is that? I like that. That's awesome. That's good amount of gap. I started playing in Cypher and learning. Excellent, Dreams. Yeah, Cypher's fun. I played Eberron I ran Eberron. My first Eberron campaign was the first time. I've never played Cypher system. I've only DM'd it, and I DM'd it for about 15 months in an Eberron campaign. Hold on. Flash here. Yeah, that's that campaign was the pirates of the Pirate of Lazar campaign, where the team there was two plot lines that were running inside of Cypher. It was the pirates. They were helping the rightful heir of the fourth seat of the pirates. Okay, so there's the 9 princes of Lazar. The pirates of Lazar are pirate islands, like the Pirates of the Caribbean, right? So there's these pirate islands. It's a whole nation of pirates that basically make their money by either farming or basically raiding other ships that are traversing goods on the sea. So they were basically Corsair pirates is basically what it came down to. And there was 9 pirate princes. And so each one of them was a family lineage, and they had their own bloody blahs. And so the plot line here was, God bless it. Okay, good. Is that right? Is that right? The whole plot was they ran into a young girl who was supposed to become the 4th princess of Lazar, but her uncle ousted her, and she escaped in exile, and she's being hunted to be able to close off that bloodline so that her uncle can remain in charge. It's a whole Lion King sort of storyline, except it's a chick who's supposed to be a pirate, and when she takes control, she'll be in charge of butchering people like a mobster. So, but she's a good kid. So they're hoping, hey, maybe if we put this kid in charge, we've spent some time with her, she can become a better person. These are my superhero friends that I used to play. That I don't play with D&D now, but used to all the time. This is how they ran the campaign. It's like, yeah, if we can make this kid a good kid, maybe we can have good pirates. They ended up unionizing all the different piracies, all the pirates that went on the pirate boats for like the 5th. They started with the 5th pirate, and they basically got them to unionize and destabilize the pirates holding as a prince, because now the princes were waging war because they ousted the 5th pirate, but none of them wanted to become the prince. He was like, no, we're a union now. There is no prince. We are the first union of Lazar. And they're like, oh, we've got a culture issue going on here. So the 8 other pirates were attacking the 5th pirate, which gave the 4th pirate, the girl, an opportunity to retake the seat. And then she just leaned into the union thing because she was on board with it. So she backed up the 4th and the 5th house. Now we're the 1st and 2nd unions of Lazar. And she was fine being the 2nd union of Lazar. She's like, no. You guys pulled the trigger on the first one. We totally helped you there. But that immediately got the 1st union of Lazar backing up her as the 2nd union leader. So they started building a dynamo when the campaign ended. But the other piece of it was them rescuing or them going into Warforged bunkers and convincing the AIs that ran the automated Warforged bunkers that the war was actually over and they should lay down their arms and come help rebuild society with us. And this was before the next character that they built out of that was, I want to be a lord. I want to be this Warforged that is awakening all of the Warforged. That came from them rescuing abandoned Warforged machinery to rejoin society because no one told them that the war was over. They still thought the war was going and that was going to get them killed eventually. So they're like, we could build an army out of this and help back up the Lazar with a bunch of expat Warforged machinery. So let's take over. So they curved those two things together, and so all the Warforged that they free were becoming union members of the 5th or the 1st and 2nd guild of Lazar. It's just fucking, I love those guys so much. Just the shenanigan levels of these guys is just out of control. Fucking love it. But it makes me, as a DM, it forces me to think inside of the 4th, of that hidden 4th pillar all the time. Because it's like at any time they're just gonna go off the rails and go ape shit on whatever it is that's like something caught their attention. There goes everything that we had planned for the campaign. It's now about baking. Like ponies are sleeping, all threads are now baking. It's like, well, there goes the campaign. But it's awesome. It is so awesome. I love it. I don't remember what got me on that kick. Oh, Cypher system. Right. That was my experience with Cypher. Was running that Eberron campaign, and it was so, honestly, it was effortless. It was effortless and incredibly narrative. It was great. Fantasy setting, especially a high Magitech setting like Eberron, is so great for Cypher because all the Cypher can be ancient tech that's just laying around. It can be herbalism, like if you brew up, you'll get the Cypher one-shot magic item if you take all the berries from this bush and use alchemy and brewing to make it into this certain potion. It'll do whatever the Cypher does, and you roll the random number. It's like, yeah. So then you can start building a lexicon of different flora that produces different Cypher effects. So you can start Cypher hunting by looking for those particular types of plants. God, it was so Cypher was effortless in being able to just build things. I still like 5th edition. I like 5th edition because of Ravnica and because of Spelljammer and because of Planescape. D&D owns those properties. I will always know how to play the game that those things exist inside of. That is my, and Dark Sun. These are like my original touchstones of what is awesome in reality. So I can never stray too far away from them. But I really, really, really respect what the Cypher system is. It is good. It is definitely worth learning. So cheers, Dreams. I'm glad it's something that you're adding to your repertoire. It is crazy open to shenanigans. Super open to shenanigans. So I wish you luck, my friend. I've spent a lot of time. It's 8:30. I don't think I'm as far along as I could be. Always seem to not be as far along as I could be. I think what we're going to find is when this switches gears to Monday through Friday morning, it's going to be less It'll be more because I'll be working on assets like on page assets like page layouts, and it'll be a different flavor. I really love these Mondays and Thursday nights because I really just get to let my hair down, pardon the puns, but and I've had a whole day of corporate America, and it's all me letting go of all the adulting I have to do, and just be a game geek. And I haven't figured out my sleep schedule to have this much bright-eyed and bushy-tailedness in the morning. The morning tends to be more about art techniques and the like composition and building stuff. I mean, I'll go on my tears about Spelljammer because we're talking about Spelljammer, but I talk about a lot of shit on Mondays and Thursday nights, and I think I really like how much that happens. I love this guy's look. That's so fucking great. Such a great face. I'm on the fabric layer again. Come on, man. I have not kept my frames straight once all night on this chick, and I don't know what the hell is wrong with me, but it is askew. That's okay. We're doing okay over here. I'm just complaining about how disorganized I am today, but I love talking about all this crap. It is so fun. I just my evening streams is far more just. I feel like kicking back and having fun. I feel like I'm having more serious. I get up in the morning before my day job to paint to guarantee that I can get some hours of stuff in, and to hash my way through the stuff that's not as fun to do, just to get the stuff knocked down. And I put it on stream because I have to hold myself accountable because it's a huge project. I have to get it done. But this one's waiting for that one to be done. So I get to be a little bit more lighthearted and lackadaisical about what's going on and my production time here, because it's kind of like, you know, circling O'Hare Airport waiting for the landing pattern to open up for serious production. So I'm enjoying what it is, and I like the different gears. I'm hoping that in the future, if I can shift my... Oops, I just locked up. I'm going to have to save and reopen the document. But I'm hoping I can get my sleep schedule shifted so I'm a little bit more awake in the mornings. Maybe be willing to stay up a little less at night working on stuff and be awake a little bit more in the mornings, so the time that I do spend on working is more productive and a little more high energy than where I've been at in the morning. So I'm recognizing it's interesting, like the mechanics and stuff are interesting. I just wish I had this much bounce in my step when I talked about it. So I feel like I can improve. If I can change my sleep patterns, I feel like I can improve that stream. So we'll see. We'll see if that's true or not. But it is something that God damn. Kearney, wrong layer again. Whoever was making bets that I'd screw up the layer, gold star, my dude. There we go. I feel like I'm missing a component of our conversation here. So give me a moment to drop some texture on her here. So I haven't missed anything. Good. Carry on. Oh yeah, also down in my Patreon this week, I started working on the Eldraine project, which I'll have to squeeze in maybe on Saturdays. They recently released 25 creatures, Monsters Compendium for Eldraine on the D&D Beyond. So on my Patreon down below is the Google Doc that I'm using to analyze how they're translating the creatures from the cards into D&D creatures and seeing if there's any patterns of activity that we can glean from what they provided to see if they might have some sort of secret project going on about converting MTG into an RPG. Because that is something that I am obviously very interested in. So I'm trying to do some analysis, and you can watch me sleuth through that stuff and see what kind of ideas that I'm also trawling it for ideas, because if they have patterns of I always want to test my color philosophy against theirs, and from the first episode that we did on Saturday, I am absolutely on point with them about what they are saying, like different color philosophy, like different mechanics, different 5e mechanics. How would they be expressed? Like how would 5e express different card effects on Magic the Gathering? And so far I'm batting about 900. So I'm pretty happy about it. And the differences are basically just teachable moments for me. So this is stuff that I'm going to be able to feed into the reformatting that we do once 1D&D is published as an actual adventure. We'll go through, like, this will be done, the Spelljammer adventure will be done, Martial Powers should be freshly published, and then we get to take the entire mana system of all those books and then rebuild them with what 1D&D is converting classes into. I am ready for that challenge, and it's going to be an opportunity for me to revisit all the artwork that's in the books. And if there's anything that I think that can bear replacing, I can replace it with Theros or Strixhaven artwork, because we'll be adding Theros and Strixhaven to the content. We'll expand the book and have a chapter on Theros, a chapter on Strixhaven, and a chapter on Ravnica inside of that book. And if they do more stuff in the future, we can do separate like $5 tear out books. Like if they do Eldraine, we can do a $5 tear out for Eldraine. Blah 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 blah. As they make them available for us to talk about, we can expand upon them. Is basically where we're going with that. So I'm really looking forward to next year. I've got a lot of cool stuff on my plate. But the Eldraine project is me starting to hunt for statistical information that they may be producing in regards to what am I missing? Hair. Flesh. I'm just not efficient today. Oh, neat. Okay, I put this on the center layer. I did not realize I did that. That is interesting. Let's drop back down here. Baby! And where are we at? Highlights. Let's grab some highlights. That's the fabric layer, Kearney. Bam! I did it right this time. Celebrate me. It's been raining for the past 30 hours here in Seattle. It's officially autumn. The trees are dropping. Leaves as fast as as fast as rain is falling from the sky. You know, I was trying to say a thing there and it completely just kind of washed out on me. So never mind. But I may very well be able to have my first fire, not this weekend, but the following weekend. I am blessed to have a wooden fireplace literally right over my shoulder. It's less than 5 feet away. It's in the adjacent 5-foot square. Is a wood burning fireplace, and when family and friends ask, Phil, is there anything that you want for your birthday, for the holidays, something like that? My answer is always, give me a Lowe's. Thank you. It took me a minute there. Give me a Lowe's gift card so that I can buy firewood from them, and we'll nip down to the store, load up the Jeep with a bunch of firewood. And burn fire and watch Netflix all weekend. Order a pizza. Fall asleep on each other like a puddle of cats. It's a good life. It's a damn good life. Speaking of pizza, my OMAD reinvigoration is coming along very nicely. I had let go of one meal a day with a pretty sedentary lifestyle, and as a result of it, I basically went from 195 to 240 in the span of 2 years. So easy come, easy go, you know. So I got back onto OMAD, and I've been on it for the past 4 days. I'm down 4 pounds already. You basically lose 2 pounds right off the cuff because you're only eating one meal a day, and once you poop it out, you kind of run it on empty, and water weight is a thing. So, but then from there, you're basically losing half a pound a day, and right on cue, I am losing about half a pound a day. So it should only take me a few months for me to get back down to low 200s. So I'm excited about that, and I've been hitting the gym. My leg infection is resolved, so I can go back to pedaling. And so don't let anyone ever tell you that exercise will get rid of weight, because exercise only resolves about 5% of the calories that you are consuming. Most of it is just intake. Your body will burn off the rest yourself if you're just smart about intake, honestly. But I'm excited, man. It feels good. I can feel... I'd forgotten that feeling of my body pulling at itself. Like, we have extra gap here. We need to pull our flesh back in, and feeling how it hangs differently. It's a neat feeling. And I'd stayed under 200 for a couple years, and then the pandemic came in, and I bounced back up because I hadn't adapted my lifestyle appropriately. It used to be that I was just never around food, so it was easy for me to lose weight. But when I started working from home at my day job, the food was always here, and I was more isolated. I lost my peer group at work, because it's basically 2 hours for me to go into office, and I'm not required to anymore. So it's 2 hours. It's a 2-hour commute one way. So I absolutely do not go into office unless it's necessary. I go into office maybe once a quarter. But yeah, if I had to go into work every day, I wouldn't be able to keep this job. I'd have to quit and find something else to do. So I am infinitely thankful to have a work from home circumstance. I crunch numbers, basically. I do marketing analysis. It'd be fun just sculpting this face a bit. Like, this is the sense of scale we're talking about. It's like these details aren't really that important, but I think that looks really, really, like, I think it only looks okay here, but like when it zooms out, I really like how the loss of definition softens the face in general. I'm finding I think this I find it ironic, but yet not at all, that me spending this year and a half on the Spelljammer project is making me think so much about scale, and I'm learning in my artwork at the same time to play with how much information are you actually processing when you look at an image, and how much of the patterning and the way that the negative space falls in starts to create language about what's actually there in your mind, not actually in the illustration. So that's a fun process to be fucking around with. Like, I think the end, like, if I get really good at manipulating that perspective, like that perception of what's going on, I think if I get really, really good at that, I'm going to be able to get away with inferring a ton of detail without having to invest a lot of time on doing it in both organic as well as hard architecture. I can see a path where just playing with the sense of scale on things is going to allow me to. I don't necessarily know what all that means yet, but I feel like I'm on the precipice of really changing my own perspective about how I'm building things. I don't know what that's going to be, but I'm kind of excited to find out. I have to melt in that line. So far, so good. I'm going to call her done for now. I mean, I need to take care of that little bundle of heaven. There we go. Chip, chop, chiree, chiru, chirom. Make sure you give the kiddos a neutral color so when they throw up on it, you don't feel disappointed you invested so much money in the dyes. I'm using an accent for no reason. I'll end now. Oh my god, I just got introduced to Dungeons and Daddies. I don't know if any of y'all have ever heard that it's a Let's Play. It's a D&D campaign. I don't know how long it goes, but the shtick is it's 4 dads that are taking their kids to soccer practice, and they fall through a vortex like the Dungeons and Dragons cartoon, and they end up in Faerun, in Forgotten Realms, and their kids are missing from the minivan they were all carpooling together in. So it's just 4 dads, and they're discovering that they're player characters with different classes, and their mission is to find their kids and do whatever it takes to get them back. And it is fucking hilarious. It is so funny. It is like 75% steeped in the shenanigans pillar of play. They're dealing psychic damage to each other every time they make a dad joke. It's just, I mean, it is campy, over the top, fantastic D&D podcast content. It's audio only, so it's a great audiobook. You were talking about audiobook suggestions. Dungeons and Daddies, fucking home run. I'm only on the 3rd episode. They're about an hour and a half each long, and it is making me laugh out loud, like audibly laugh, like belly chuckle laughter. It's good shit. Highly recommend. Highly recommend. Just the way that the players like stick their feet in their own mouths all the time when they're talking to NPCs. Like, they have a really hard time separating in character from out of character conversations, and the DM really holds them to it. So they're constantly just fucking up their conversations. Like, they have a good bluff going. And they're like, yeah, that bluff went pretty well. And the guard's like, what? And they're like, no. And he was like, no, you need to control your tongue. So it's like absolutely punishing them when they accidentally talk out of character without going into a dad huddle. So they'll declare a dad huddle so that they can talk out of character. It's so fucking awesome. It's so fucking awesome. Highly recommend Dungeons and Daddies. It is just hilarious. I don't know who they are. I don't know enough about them yet. I'm new to their episodes, but it is just legendary crap. 100% am recommending. So there, take that. Do with that what you want. So she's done. I'm going to cap this kid off, and I'm going to call it done for the day. And then when we come back on Thursday, we're going to take care of his sister, and we'll color her in, and then we'll merge down all the line art, and then we'll be done with this page, which will mean that if we stay on target, when we come back next week, we'll start in on a forest map. Maybe we'll do a forest map. I think we can do that. So I'm going to take care of this kid real quick. Kids can have maybe a little bit of color. Let's see what kind of colors are around. Oh yeah, I'm good with this. This is a good color for that kid. Give that kid scarf color. Scarf color and belt color. That's what you get, kid. Mother. Kid. Rabbit. Rabbit belongs with kid. There you go. Yeah, I'm pretty down with this song. I'm pretty sure that Epidemic is currently just playing suggested music. I like that about Epidemic. I don't know if other streaming, royalty-free streaming services offer similar, but I am enjoying the traipse through sound. Oh, apparently it's just has some water. Okay. What kind of what? God damn it, heart, get out of my way. What kind of diet is that? Oh, what? OMAD, 1 meal a day. That's what I was talking about. If it's not evident, 1 meal a day. It's you. Okay, so like somebody with like a 240-pound guy basically needs to consume 2,500 calories a day to stay that weight. If I eat less calories than that, I will lose weight. I will get down to basically 200 pounds on a 2,000 calorie diet, and I'll stay there because of the fairly sedentary lifestyle I have. So if I want to get down to 190, I could consume 1,900 calories and wait. It takes 2,000 calories to lose a pound, and at 1,900 versus 2,000, I could go from like I'm trying to do math in my head right now, but it's basically 2,500 down to sorry, if I'm maintaining my weight at 2,000, I want to get down to 190. I need to cut down my calorie intake by 100 calories. but it takes 20 days per pound with 100 calorie deficiency. So if I want to lose 10 pounds, it's going to take me 10 times 10 days. It's going to basically take me 3 months of reducing my calorie intake to drop 10 pounds. So if I instead reduce my calorie, if I'm supposed to be consuming 2,500 calories right now at 240 pounds, then if I restrict my calorie intake to 1,000 calories a day, then I will have a natural deficiency. I am effectively starving my body so that it learns to feed off of my body fat. But if I graze, like if I just eat like if I eat grapes all day for like 10 hours a day, my body never has an opportunity to eat my body fat because it's always getting new supplies of sugar. So sugar creates insulin. Insulin shuts down your ghrelin enzymes that turn on the energy systems that consume fat that's on your body. So if you limit your calorie intake to whatever you want for basically one meal a day, or basically like if I consume more than 1,500 calories of food, no matter how shitty the quality of food is, I am full. Now it's a matter of how high of a quality food is it that determines how much of that food I can eat. Like I can like for example, if you get like a bag of salads like from the grocery store in America, like a Caesar salad or like a Southwestern salad or like a quinoa mango Asian crunch salad. Those things are roughly 600 or 700, maybe 800 calories per bag. So if you want to restrict your diet, you could have like a Caesar salad and then like a more crazy salad and have like 2 bags of salad is going to be basically 1,000 calories, which means that I'm basically cutting off, I'm causing a deficiency of 1,500 calories in my needed diet. My 240 pound frame will naturally start to drop if I only eat 1,000 calories a day at the rate of roughly half a pound a day, because a pound of fat is basically 2,000 calories. So anytime you cut yourself short 2,000 calories of food over time, it'll start eating away at basically a pound of fat every other day. So that causes you to lose 40 pounds of fat over the course of, say, 90 days. So depending on how hostile or like how hardcore you want to go after this, depends on how fast you lose weight. In July of 2019, I lost 25 pounds that month because I had 5 meals that month. I'd eat one meal of 1,000 calories on Sunday. We'd go to brunch and I'd have a light meal. And that Sunday was the only day of the week I would eat. So at the end of that month, I'd lost about 25 pounds. So if I had just decided to go full tilt, don't eat any calories at all, I could have gone basically in 3 months, I could have lost 75 pounds. But there's a pretty heavy shock that the body takes for doing that. But so like you get really tired a lot. You can get really pissy and cranky very easily doing that way because your body's constantly chewing on its own skin to, like, literally it's chewing on its own skin to be able to keep energy going. So you get pissed off pretty easily. So you can fly pretty casually on an OMAD diet of like 1,500 calories a day. The thing is that you want to make the time period that you're eating food as narrow as possible, so that when the body gets done being pissed off that it doesn't have any sugar in its system, it then has more time switched over to eating fat. Like if you eat 1,000 calories over the course of a day, you'll lose some weight, but you're constantly keeping your body fueled. So it's going to eat your muscle instead of your fat, because it's going to have more difficult time getting to your muscle because the insulin is always kicking in your system. So when you have insulin in your system and you're starving yourself, it'll eat your muscle. So you just kind of atrophy. If you limit your meals to about an hour a day, that means that after 3 hours, the insulin turns off. So 20 hours a day, your body now has to turn on ghrelin, shifting gears, and now start eating the fat off of your body. So you can keep your muscle tone, but you'll lose the fat. And chances are, if you're overweight already, you probably don't have a lot of muscle tone. But your body is fighting to survive. So when you exercise while on one meal a day in that restricted window of calories, if you exercise before you break your fast for the day or have breakfast, then your body is going to be on high key energy because your body's going to start relating exercise with being fed. So it's going to start giving you better gains, and you're going to be able to sculpt your body more easily. So it's all about psychological trickster, man. So if you're going to OMAD, you're going to want to exercise in the morning so that your body starts thinking that the exercise that you do in the morning is what's causing you to get fed immediately afterwards. And then you have calorie restriction. You don't get food anymore until you exercise again the next day. So your body starts pacing itself around that sculpting. So it allows you to be able to, look pretty svelte as a result of it. So it's just, you got to get through the anger of not allowing your body to eat and to act and to have the insulin burn out, and then for it to start just gnawing on your own flesh. So if you get through that gnawing cycle, after about 3 days of your body chewing on itself, the chemicals that get released from eating your own body so much actually makes you, it's almost like a permanent adrenaline boost that you get. It's like you always roll at advantage for any athletics, acrobatics, or mental checks like history, memory, or intuitive checks. It's like basically all your ability checks get a permanent ability advantage. Eventually you kill yourself because you don't eat any food, so you have to turn off that superpower after a while. But it is legitimately a superpower. Starving yourself is legitimately a superpower. So you feel faster, you feel smarter, your body builds quicker. It really just releases all these, I need to do everything I can to survive. So every shred of resource that comes into our body is going to be built towards building a more efficient machine. And apparently you're stupid because you can't get fed. So we better pump some more smart into your brain. It's ridiculous. So you can play this little game about starving yourself and build up your body versus feeding it so that it's a controlled it's a controlled loss. You don't want to just deep dive off the. I mean, you could deep dive off the deep end if you want to. It won't kill you as long as you stay above 10% body mass is fat. That's a healthy place to be. But if you take it slowly and gently, it makes it easier for you to sculpt your body. You're kind of slowly swapping out parts as opposed to doing like a hard gear shift, slamming the clutch down and popping the shift. Like it's a rough transition, so you can get whiplash from that shit. But it worked well for me. I went from 311 pounds to 195 in the course of about 9 months, and then I built back on 40 pounds over the course of 2 years. And I've just literally started getting serious about it again, doing 1,000 calories of food a day, and I'm down 4 pounds this week already. So I'm expecting if I take it easy with holiday food and like Thanksgiving, Christmas, and like having cheat days when I'm hanging out with my gal, doing pizza and Netflix occasionally. I'll probably be able to drop back down to less than 200, probably by March. I think that's realistic. So we'll see if I get there or not. But I was looking at videos of myself, and I was just noticing that there was more chin there than there was last year. And I'm like, time to straighten up and fly right, Kearney. So that's where I'm at in that process. I'm enjoying bicycling a lot. Yeah, it's fun just to listen to. Now I've got a decent podcast to listen to and some laughter going on a little bit more often. I was enjoying Dresden Files on audiobooks. I really like Dresden Files a lot. It's my second listening to it. And that's fun to listen to while you cycle. I also like listening to Sly Flourish when I cycle. Lazy DM. I like his stream. I like his approach in talking to people. There's that. I'm going to put in another layer here for his pants. Shirt. Pants. Let's go fetch some pants for this kid. Hit the save button. I think there's text I'm neglecting. So give me a second here to catch up to the rest of y'all. It's when I make a change like that, generally, and this is just me. Maybe other people can just jump into things, but I have to research, explore, and meditate for about 5 months for me to be able to have the chaos magic of my life, to be able to say, okay, this is something that you wished for. And prep to promise yourself, and I give myself a date. Like normally, like if I make a New Year's resolution, I'll set July 4th to be the start date for whatever that promise to myself is. This year the promise was to exercise every day, and that was going great until I got a leg infection and I had to stop. So now I have to get back into it. But back around February, I realized, if I'm going to get into exercise, I really need to get serious about losing weight again. And that's when I started plugging OMAD back into my head. And so I've been listening to that evolving for me. And when the date arrives, it just becomes it's like a pistol shot. And that's when the race starts. Now I can start running. Like I've been waiting for that pistol shot, and like I allow that intentional holding off on executing the like if I say I'm going to quit smoking, like when I said I'm going to quit smoking, I smoked during college. I'm like, I want to quit smoking. I didn't just cold turkey that instance. It was like that. I wasn't taking it seriously. I have to convince myself that this thing I want to change about myself is something I want to do, and I want to take it seriously. So that when I set that date, it's like this is the date that I'm going to make that thing happen. If I'm serious about doing that thing. And if it sticks with me and I keep looking at, like when I quit smoking, I still smoked a pack of Marlboro, Reds a day or Camel Wides per day for the 7 months after I gave myself that resolution. But I literally, every time I smoked a cigarette, I told myself, I can enjoy it, observe how this makes you feel, recognize anything about this that makes you feel good, and recognize how you feel afterwards, and what about that do you feel bad about. And I started doing the same thing with sugar recently, but that cigarette process is what got me to, on July 4th, take all that information that you've gathered, all those feelings that you've had, and make that a deciding factor that you want to quit cigarettes, because the feelings that you have after you eat are worse than the feelings after you smoke, are worse than the feelings that you have while you smoke. Because while you smoke, you feel relieved. But recognize the pain that you feel of withdrawal. And recognize anything around having to spend the money, or recognizing you're a part of this, or like the taste actually isn't that good. But I'm a smoker, so I'm going to go with it. But by the time I got to July 4th, I'm like, you know what? Honestly, cigarettes don't taste good. I don't like how my breath goes. It's a lot of money. I know I'm in worse shape I was before I started smoking. Let's give it an honest go to quit and see how that changes our life. And at that point, it was easy for me to switch, and I readily acknowledged that I could feel once I got past the nicotine addiction, the hangover, I legitimately felt better. I'm like, this affirms everything that I suspected about cigarettes. Let's see how long we can keep this feeling up. and basically it stayed in place all the way until marijuana became legal in Washington. And then it became, you know what? I used to smoke weed in college, and I quit because it was illegal and I was making a life with somebody. So I'm going to quit smoke. But now that it's legal again, I can have a cigarette. I can smoke a joint when I want. But now I'm starting to feel, you know what? I don't think I'm appreciating it anymore. So now I'm starting to feel the momentum building towards me. Not like I can't eat edible weed is candy basically. It's going to have calories. If I eat it, it's going to knock me out of my OMAD. But if I OMAD in the morning after I exercise, then I have to get high in the morning when I'm having food. And that means I can't do my day job because I can't do my marketing analytics if I'm high. I know I can't. So I can barely paint when I'm high. So that is no longer viable. So that means I have to give up edible weed if I'm going to do this OMAD thing. So that's something I've already had to sacrifice. And now I'm like, well, wait a second. I just gave up my edibles. Now all I have is smoke, and I like to smoke and eat. So like, wait, this doesn't make any sense. I think I gained all that weight back because of the weed. So I'm like, well, wait a second. Okay, if I'm going to take this seriously and get out of that, then I got to stop smoking. I got to stop smoking weed too. And on and on and on and on and on. It goes on down the cascades like that. So I am finding myself having less and less motivation to smoke weed here in Washington State. That is, if I'm at a party or something, it's like, I'm going to drink a beer because I'm at a party. So that's going to break my fast. And I'll smoke a joint because I'm at a party. So basically, all the things that are going to allow me to get intoxicated, I limit to when I'm having social engagements with other people that are enjoying that. So that encourages me to be social if I want to imbibe in that behavior. That is a social victory. So I'm figuring things out. Conscious living. Intentionally doing what it is I'm doing. I'm going to spark that up. Just a bit more like that. All right, I'm going to finish messing around with this kid's hair, and then I'm going to call it for the day. I'm just going to let it bleed out around here. So when I merge down the line art with the color, I'll be able to extend his pants down. It'll look okay. No, I think I'm done. Yeah, I think that's donezo for me today. The muse just said you're done, so I am done. So there's that, guys. I am out for the day. I will be back in about 9 hours. We'll be back on doing more Eberron or more Spelljammer artwork. And so I am looking forward to seeing you guys then. Maybe I'll see some of y'all here on Thursday. Dreams, very merry unbirthday to you, my friend. And hopefully I'll catch up with you on your stream on Thursday. Otherwise, guys, tomorrow's Martial Powers. We're gonna finish our work on the Battle Master tomorrow at lunchtime. That'll be in about 13 hours from now. So like, subscribe, hit the bell icon to get notifications when I go live, so you can see that stuff. And these are all different playlists that I have on my channel: the Spelljammer Combat and Exploration, the Eberron Adventure Design, the Martial Power System. Those are the three big things I have going on, and I have my Saturday morning art commission for the book cover that I'm doing for Andy and Brian's adventure. So anyway, that's it. My day is done. I will see you guys. Thanks a lot, Dreams, for hanging out. Tyler, awesome to see you, my guy. And Nitro, thanks for hanging out. Everybody else that lurks around, thanks a lot for lurking. I will see you guys on the other side. Cheers.